Warning, this channel is intended for mature audiences and should not be viewed by children. If you have heart problems, are easily triggered or offended by opinions that are contrary to your own, then you should probably go and consult a doctor before going and consuming this content. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back, Pixel Nation. I am the fleshy meat sack of the Comics Division YouTube channel, and today we're going to be talking about something comic related, and not in a good way either. Now, throughout the years, there's been a lot of really stupid comic book characters like Dog Welder. Yes, I had to Google this shit. Arm Fall Off Boy, Ice Cream, Hindsight Lad, Lady Stilt Man, Matter Eating Lad, you kind of get the idea. But now we have a whole host of new stupid characters for 2020. Thank you, Marvel Comics.
My name is Daniel Kibblesmith, and I am the writer of New Warriors #1.
Now, I don't know who this guy is. I've never heard of him before, and apparently he has written some comics, none of which I would call noteworthy.
I got interested in the New Warriors later. I remember seeing them on the shelf when I was a kid, picking up comics in the 90s and just feeling like they were too cool for me.
Yeah, I hate to be that asshole, but they're still way too cool for you, dude. And this is coming from a guy who is wearing a Star Wars St. Patrick's Day t-shirt. I have to admit, this was bought by my wife, though, which is pretty fucking cool.
Like, I was intimidated by, Night Thrasher who had a blade coming out of his wrist.
It's a comic book character!
Nova was really buff. They were all the edgy characters for the 90s, as the cover said.
Now, I didn't read the New Warriors back in the 90s. What I was reading was mostly Dark Horse Comics and then Image when it came around. And I would consider that stuff to be more on the edgier side. This looks like typical 90s superheroes to me. So, I'm sure somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm totally wrong on this one.
New Warriors, I thought, were really interesting characters because they occupy this really cool space. They're forever young, but they've now been around for 30 years.
Come on, man. You work in the comic book industry. How do you not know that time passes differently in the comic book universe? Batman just celebrated his 80th anniversary, and that should make him, what, like 110 or something at this point? Because the dude's been like in his 30s forever. So why would it be any different for these characters? They would still be in their 20s, probably early 20s. How do you not know this?
My editors on the previous books I'd done, like Loki and Black Panther vs. Deadpool, asked if I would be interested in doing a New Warriors tie-in that actually poses them as the authority figures.
Now, this book looks like it's tying into the Outlawed event. I'll be honest with you, I don't know too much about it because I simply just don't give a fuck. But what I do know is that Kamala Khan does something stupid. They pass a law called Kamala's Law, and it makes it illegal for teen superheroes, even though that's like the bulk of all of Marvel. Spider-Man, anyone? Anyway, that's besides the point. What they're doing is they're rehashing previously good stories like Civil War, and oddly enough, it was Speedball of the New Warriors which kind of kicked off Civil War. So much for originality
In this conflict instead of the rebels, and I really liked the tension of that.
I don't know, is it me, or does Rage look a little too happy in this picture? I mean, the dude's name is Rage after all.
So because the New Warriors are the authority figures in this story, they have to be mentoring new Warriors.
I see what you did there.
Who are under 21 and subject to the laws that triggered the Outlawed event.
And so we're introduced to the new Warriors. I bet these characters are going to last a long time. 10 years tops. 5 years. Nah, honestly, I don't think anyone's going to remember them past a year. This is the reason why I stopped reading comics and started reading manga. 2020, folks. Product of our time. Aren't you proud? I know I am.
This new law is making it illegal to be a vigilante under the age of 21.
American comic books are dead.
The artist on New Warriors #1 is Luciano Vecchio. He designed all of the new Warriors and gave them costumes that felt as modern as the New Warriors costumes to sort of feel classic and instantly familiar.
Now, these costumes, they look like they ripped off all new, all different X-Men, and they were terrible then, and they're still terrible now. I mean, this is a professional comic book artist. You can go to DeviantArt and find a creative there that can produce something way better than this. And Marvel is paying these people for this garbage.
So the first character that we're introduced to is Trailblazer. She's a group home and foster kid who is volunteering at a senior center.
I don't get body positivity superheroes. I'm an old fat guy. I mean, not as fat as some, I suppose, but I definitely got dad bod. And what I can tell you is I don't want to see superheroes that look like me. I want them buff and badass and not schlubby like myself, because I'll just be lame.
When this mysterious threat shows up and Night Thrasher runs to the rescue, and because she helps him, she ends up in the crosshairs of this new outlawed law, and she inherited from her grandfather a magic backpack.
What is she supposed to be, Dora the fucking Explorer? I mean, Marvel, seriously, do you realize how fucking stupid this is? It's lame.
Of divine origin. We picked the name Trailblazer because she's somebody who charges into action.
No, I'm pretty sure that you came up with the name of Trailblazer because you think you're blazing some new trail with this character, and reality is you're not.
She knows that she can do some good with this, mysterious gift that she's been given. Screentime is a internet kid taken to its sort of logical conclusion.
So we came up with the character of Keurig because he drinks a lot of coffee.
As a youth, he was exposed to his grandfather's experimental internet gas.
I'm sorry, what was that?
As a youth, he was exposed to his grandfather's experimental internet gas.
Experimental internet gas. Why does this sound like a fart joke to me?
He was exposed to his grandfather's experimental internet gas.
Why is this so fucking stupid? Well, if there ever was a wonder why Marvel Comics is failing, you might have your answer here. Somebody paid this guy to come up with this crap. Experimental internet gas.
The word Screentime is only ever used in a sort of restrictive sense, and because we're doing a story about teenage rebels, a lot of the names are about teens fighting against labels that are put on them.
So let me get this straight. You are fighting against labels here, but you have the Asian kid be the one who's the internet guy. Just asking questions here.
So with Screentime, we liked the idea that he has infinite screen time.
This is a little too on the nose for me.
Snowflake and Safe Space are the twins.
I stand corrected. This is way too on the nose for me.
And their names are very similar to Screentime. It's this idea that these are terms that get thrown around on the internet.
I don't know what to tell you, folks. Seriously, this has to be satire, because if I was going to create a comic book character that was kind of mocking SJWs, that's exactly what I would do. I would name them Snowflake and Safe Space. I can't fucking believe they're actually doing this.
That they don't see as derogatory, to take those words and kind of wear them as badges of honor. Safe Space is kind of a big, burly, sort of stereotypical jock.
No. No. No jock is gonna have pink hair. I'm just throwing that out there, man. Just throwing that out there.
He can create force fields, but he can only trigger them if he's protecting somebody else.
So Keurig's superpowers that he gets up at 5 a.m. and makes coffee using a Keurig.
Snowflake is non-binary and goes by they, them.
Hey, look, I get it. I don't have a problem with the non-binary superhero. That's fine. There's non-binary people out there. Why not make a superhero? But is this really the superhero that you want? Because this seems really shallow and vapid and, quite frankly, a bit insulting and condescending. I don't know if there's anyone out there who's non-binary in my audience, but seriously, I would like to know what your thoughts are on this character, because I think I would be insulted.
Snowflake has the power to generate individual crystallized snowflake-shaped shurikens.
Another one of Keureg's superhuman abilities is to go and generate K-cups, which he uses as a projectile when he's attacking enemies.
The connotations of the word snowflake in our culture right now are something fragile. And this is a character who is turning it into something sharp. Snowflake is the person who has the more offensive power, and Safe Space is the person who has the more defensive power.
Now I'm really curious to see who the antagonists of the series are. Do we have the Mansplainer, Captain Patriarchy, MGTOW Man? Kill me.
The idea was that they would mirror each other and complement each other.
Hey Daniel, just throwing this out there. This doesn't exactly look like a platonic relationship these twins have. You've been watching a little too much Game of Thrones.
E negative is the goth kid.
That's it. I'm done here. I'll catch you next time, folks. I even have a P.O. box in case you want to send me fan mail. Previously, there was a bit of an issue with it, but mail is now being delivered. I also want to give a huge shout out to those who support me on Subscribestar. You guys are awesome. Special recognition goes out to EHuntington for supporting me on the I'm a sucker with a lot of dough tier, as well as checks notes. Toxic Man Flu for supporting me on the Take My Money Damn It tier. All those tier names were rather glib, and quite frankly, I didn't anticipate anyone actually signing up for them. But I do appreciate your support. So, thank you very much.